welcome to On the House, the podcast where we talk about movies, TV shows, and video games because, hey, whatever we want to talk about, it's on the house. Yeah, that's right, folks. It's December, which means we are legally obligated to talk about Christmas movies this time of year. If you're wondering why this doesn't tie into the tease we gave you last time, well, let's just say we got something planned for that. But we're going to be doing some new things with this channel. We're going to be doing some live reactions to some classic Christmas shows. But for now, we're just going to have a fun conversation on what some of our favorite are to watch this time of year. Joining me, as always, is Lynette.
Hello.
And Dave.
Season's greetings.
Well, folks, you probably can guess the format, especially if you watched our Halloween episode. We're just going to each have like 3 or 4 specials or movies for Christmas that we're just going to briefly have a conversation through. We'll alternate who's has which one, so it's not one person dominating the conversation. So, Lynette, why don't you go first?
Alrighty, well, I'm very much a fan of those Rankin Bass classics, especially the claymation ones. So I would say probably my favorite of all time is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I love watching that one. Pretty much, it's pretty much the last thing I watch on Christmas every year. I try to make it so. And I also like Year Without a Santa Claus. I know it's a little bit less popular, and some people consider it kind of some people consider the premise kind of sad. I know my mom hated it for that reason, but I really love it, especially for the Snow Miser song. It's great.
Like that's actually pretty much the only thing people seem to remember from that one.
Well, and yeah, and it's kind of a bummer because the rest of the movie's really great. I honestly think it's really charming and has a lot of the Christmas spirit in it. I also really like the song "It's Gonna Snow Ho Ho," but also, Frosty the Snowman, not a claymation one, but still really great from the same Rankin Bass productions, and I really love that one. It's extremely short, but it's really cute and it's really sweet. And then for the fourth one, it's really hard to make a decision, but I want to say I really enjoy the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That I feel like that movie's a lot of fun, and it also is really full of the Christmas spirit and really sweet.
Yeah, I definitely, you went through all of them so quick I didn't have time to react to.
Oh, sorry.
I love a bunch of the Rankin Bass films. I mean, some of them are these guys were hippies on acid, very much, when you look at, like, Rudolph's Shiny New Year. But the ones that really hit good. Like, I absolutely love Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I love Rudolph. I love the original Frosty. Sequels, not so much. But, yeah, all that stuff. It's instant nostalgia for Christmas is what it is.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I did grow up watching some of the Rankin Bass stuff. I didn't have as big a fondness for it as you guys might have, but it's something that I like knowing the fact it's present.
Mm-hmm.
At least, at least it's sort of a Christmas constant.
Yeah, it's like if they went a year and dropped the 24 hours of a Christmas Story marathon, it would just feel wrong, you know?
Or, not show the Charlie Brown Halloween special on TV. Cough, cough.
Wait, what?
They didn't show the Charlie Brown Halloween special on TV this year because Apple bought the rights.
This
Wait,
year,
I thought that was the Thanksgiving special.
Halloween, too.
Really? They bought the Halloween special, too? Well, good thing I got it on disc, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, this year we all got rocks.
Yeah, that's not a dumb decision at all, was it? But anyways, that's a rant for another place and time. And then, Lynette, what was the last one you mentioned there?
Oh, the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
I love that movie. Like, I recently rewatched it, and every time I do, I forget there's kind of a little bit of an edge to that movie.
What do you mean?
Well,
or do you mean the beginning where he's kind of a jerk?
Well, just how he's a bit of a jerk and narcissist. Like, in the sequels, like, they really dumb down the whole character,
Yeah, they didn't do. Honestly, the sequels got goofier and goofier. Like,
Yeah, it became
especially
more of
like you could tell it was goofy as soon as they brought in like the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy.
exactly.
And I was like, okay. Like okay, I was a kid at the time, so it's not like I really noticed, but you can definitely notice as you get older, like one of these sequels, or one of these movies is very much not like the other.
Mhm.
But I mean, which isn't to say that it isn't worth watching. I'd say that 2 is still worth watching, but the first one is definitely the best one.
Yeah,
Where 3
definitely
is
agree.
just weird and
And
only
then
has one good joke.
it's definitely interesting what the sequels did with the series. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's also Christmas, the time of year where every single film has an embarrassing sequel.
I haven't seen a whole lot of Christmas sequels. I think I mean Home Alone 2, I really liked that one. I honestly didn't think it was that much of a drop off in quality between the two Home Alones. I mean, obviously the ones afterwards was, but
The problem most people have with Home Alone 2 is that it's Home Alone 1 again, but in New York.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what people wanted though. I mean, what else could you expect? There's not a I, I don't know. I feel like that's what makes it good is the fact that it's like, oh, well, it's just all sorts of new gags to laugh
I mean,
at this time.
I'll say in its defense, and this applies more to just Beyond Home Alone 2, but as much as people complain that Hollywood just does the same thing over and over again, there's enough evidence to suggest a lot of the time audiences do just want the same thing over and over again.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, well, just because people want it doesn't make it quality.
Yes, Michael Bay has an entire career to show that.
And yet, everybody just loved that Bumblebee movie from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't get the hype over that one myself.
I don't know. I think I stopped watching Transformers after what, the third one? I have no idea. I don't even know which movie's which anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to say anymore. It is what it is.
I've never really been much of a Transformers person anyways. My parents would just watch Transformers over and over and over and over in the house.
I was a Ninja Turtles kid growing up.
Oh yeah, we had a couple episodes on VHS. I like to watch those over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Growing up with action cartoons, I was more of a Dragon Ball Z kid.
I wasn't allowed to watch that as a kid.
Me neither. Wait, you were allowed to watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but you weren't allowed to watch Dragon Ball Z? Because I remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh at your house.
Well, I kind of snuck that one past my mother.
Really? That's hilarious. But yeah, we weren't allowed to watch anime either.
But anyways, switching back to the original topic.
Right.
Dave, what are some of yours?
Okay, for a slightly more modern, just by virtue of being from the 90s, I really liked Olive the Other Reindeer, which I learned recently was the movie was done by Matt Groening from The Simpsons, and it had like that dog who, because she misheard the lyrics or like the words to something Santa asked, she thinks she needs to be a reindeer, and she's like the antagonist is a postman who really hates the Christmas season because of how much extra work he has.
Yeah, I've seen this one once, but really, Matt Groening did it?
Yeah.
Huh. See, I remember, like, when it first premiered, I remember watching it, and that was about the age where I stopped watching Cartoon Network or whatever it was showing on.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, one thing I do remember is it having a very distinguishable art style. Like, it almost looked like how would I explain this? Like, somebody took, like, those colored paper cutouts and animated those, is how I would describe the art style.
It's based on a book, and from what I looked at, it seemed like they managed to like almost perfectly recreate how the book looks. But
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot. Where they try to copy the animation of the books. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
And I remember the animation being very good for what it was. I mean, obviously, you're not talking about Disney Presents Fantasia 3000, you know?
Mhm.
Was there a Fantasia 3000?
No, that was mostly a joke. But there
Oh.
should be.
Kind of surprised they haven't come up with it. I mean, that should be like a Disney Plus exclusive or something.
I think the problem there is animation is very expensive to make and hand drawn.
Yeah, and they
And
have enough money, they just don't want to.
the fact is, like, sure, it will always exist, but in terms of like mainstream theatrical releases, if Disney's not going to do it, no one's going to try to bring back 2D animation on a big scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll see some like indie films and stuff, and like obviously there's anime, and I feel like a lot of people nowadays, if they want any sort of good animated content, they'll just immediately default to anime because Western animation isn't doing it for them.
Like,
But
I think I even recall hearing somewhere that some animation studios don't really teach 2D anymore.
Which is just sad to me. Wait, Drew Barrymore was in this?
Yeah, she was the lead character. Let me get you the Wikipedia.
I just pulled it up. Oh, man, quite a few names I didn't realize were in this.
how long is it? Where could I watch it?
It's on YouTube. It's about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's got Dan Castanella, Edward Eisner, Tim Meadows. Lots of big names.
A lot of the Simpsons, Futurama supporting cast too.
He does have a cast he likes working with.
So let's see. Also, in terms of more recent things, there was that like horror comedy Krampus I really liked from the director of Trick or Treat.
That
Wait,
was
that
good.
was a horror comedy?
Well, it depends which Krampus you're watching.
The
Oh, okay.
2015 one, like that by Michael Darty, I believe it's how you say his name, and it was from like 2015.
I don't know, wasn't there multiple ones that came out kind of recently?
Yeah, this was the good one he's referring to.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to ask you guys which one to see if ever I try to see a Krampus movie then.
Well, much like how Trick or Treat managed to work in a lot of Halloween iconography, like this managed to be one of the definitive Christmas horror movies for me, besides one we'll be covering later, but
Tease, hint, hint, tease, tease.
and like
Then,
you go on.
I don't know where I was going. You go ahead.
Well, did
Well,
you finish your list, Clancy? Or wait, was it on Dave's list?
It's Dave.
Yeah, so he did Olive and Krampus, and then you had two
well,
more, right?
I thought we were going to still be talking about this one, but okay, this one I have like just memories of seeing a lot of as a kid, and I'm wondering if you all have heard of this, but did any of you ever see The Town That Santa Forgot?
I remember it vaguely.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever
It's about
seen
like
it.
an extremely greedy kid who writes an incredibly long list to Santa, but when they see it, they don't think it could possibly be for one person, so they check a map, and it turns out the kid has the same name as a town that Santa hasn't visited in a long time. So they deliver all the presents to this town, and the greedy kid learns a lesson.
Oh, okay.
This was a Cartoon Network one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stills for it now. I'm remembering watching it, but I could not tell you what happened in it for the life of me.
It's actually like not too old. It's only 93.
Really? Oh, careful, that's coming up on 30 years now. I'm not ready to be 30.
think you're only like 1 year older than me.
I'm a couple years older than you.
Oh, really?
They played as, like Clancy said, they played this on Cartoon Network a lot, and it's just I've always enjoyed watching it. Like it's heartwarming in the best ways, and the moral holds up well. And you even got Dick Van Dyke as the narrator.
Oh my word, really?
Yeah.
I love Dick Van Dyke.
Also, is this just me, or do I think the kid kind of looks like Montana Max from Tiny Toons?
Mm.
That might just be me.
And lastly, I was narrowing it down to, if I'm allowed like one pretty big pick, like obvious one, I'd go with the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's a classic right there.
It's actually pretty much the only variation on that story that I watch, to be honest.
Really? Well,
Man, I forgot to bring up A Christmas Carol. I'm kind of mad at myself now.
like I told myself, don't bring up A Christmas Carol because I'm so obsessed with that story that way back in the days when I was writing a blog on manic depression, I did one that was for the top 12 Christmas Carol versions just because I think I love that story so much, and the Muppets
You have
are
a top
definitely for me.
12? I
Yeah,
want to see that list. You should send me that list.
I don't know.
Because I want to watch more versions of A Christmas Carol. I've only seen like I mean, I've obviously seen the Disney one, like the Donald Duck one. That one was pretty good. But I think probably my favorite one is the one with Alistair Sim.
I think that's the best one personally.
And also, like, Michael Caine is a great Scrooge, and they managed to incorporate the Muppet characters well into the roles they have. And some of the songs in this one are some of my favorites from any of the theatrical Muppet movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Love Is Gone, which they had to remove from the theatrical version and it's only reinstated on subsequent releases.
Which was kind of a dumb move to remove it, but I won't get into
I
there.
guess I read the studio thought it would be too sad for kids, but
Yeah, but it's just so choppy without it. I completely agree with you that it's better with it in.
and also I really dig Marley and Marley.
I love that joke. I love that joke that they had those two old guys as the Marley twins. But probably my favorite joke in the entire thing is Fozzie
And I like how Rizzo and Gonzo like were aware of what was coming just because they were the narrators.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually how they were able to work a lot of book accurate dialogue into the movie just through them narrating.
Mm-hmm. Like I forget what specific things were, but I do recall reading that the Muppet version actually managed to contain a lot of book specific stuff that usually gets left out. But
Yeah, it's one of the more, if you go line by line, more accurate books. It's just got a bunch of Muppets in it.
mm-hmm. I wish Muppets adapting books would have been like even more of a tradition than it was with that and Treasure Island. Like, I want a Muppets It.
Oh my word, no. Yikes.
Or do a Muppets The Shining, like, and just flip it and make Miss Piggy go the one going crazy against Kermit.
Hiya! My gosh. I'm getting so many mental pictures right now from that.
Oh, it's your turn, Clancy.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start off with two that I two that are pretty big, but it's not Christmas without them. So I'm just going to real briefly mention Charlie Brown Christmas
Of course.
and It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm.
Because those are just Christmas icons. Which, when you think about it, It's a Wonderful Life isn't really that tied into Christmas. For at least 2/3 of it, it's not set in Christmas or anything. It's just the last third where it all comes together there.
And Charlie Brown Christmas, the world's most iconic advertisement for Coca-Cola. At least
Wait, what?
It was originally sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Oh, which is funny considering that the whole message of the Christmas is there's too much commercialization.
I know, that's why they deleted originally when that scene where Snoopy's dragging Charlie Brown and Linus by their blankets. You know, you see Charlie Brown crash into a tree and it says the logo for the show.
Yeah.
Well, Linus also, you saw him crash into something and it showed presented by Coca-Cola.
Oh.
well, isn't like how they say there's no such thing as truly an anti-war film. There's no such thing as truly an anti-commercialization message.
Yeah, pretty much, because they're always trying to make...
Charlie Brown Christmas has become commercialized in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, I don't mind something getting funded, you know, to be, I mean, obviously you have to produce something somehow. You need the money to come from somewhere. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that aspect, but I still think that it's the message that is the important part, because it's supposed to be like, regardless of whatever the business world is doing, it's supposed to be an individual decision that you make about how you perceive the world and the choices you make.
And this is a whole lot.
Should have just had the entire Peanuts cast just pull out cans of Coke and celebrate.
I mean, it's not like the Power Rangers where it's like, yes, and our secret battle will take place at Krispy Kremes. Krispy Kremes? Krispy Kremes.
Did that actually happen? I don't remember that in Power Rangers.
That was from the movie from a few years ago, but...
Oh, okay. I think the only movie I ever saw was the Purple Ooze one. That was creepy.
Yeah, that movie was pretty bad. But just...
Probably the reason I stopped watching Power Rangers.
But there's just so much iconography with the original Charlie Brown Christmas. It's... Both of these movies, actually, I would say... They're like having the classic Universal films on in the background, where they can be on mute, but you can just look up at the TV and go, that's an awesome scene right there.
Right. Well, you can, I mean, Charlie Brown Christmas, it's only like, what, 20 minutes long? And I've watched it so many times, I could probably repeat all the lines. Even if I was watching it on mute on the TV, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's saying that right now, and he's saying that. And like... You know, so it's not like you wouldn't know what was going on. It's just, I don't know, it's just been permanently grafted into one's life at a certain point.
Yeah.
Can I confess something?
You're not a fan of it, are you?
No, it's actually not being a fan of it. It's just like, and it's actually not about Charlie Brown Christmas, but even though I know all the plot points and the iconic quotes, I actually haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, I mean, well, I don't agree with Clancy in the sense that it's not one of my favorites, because I think it's really sad, and it's really hard to get past the sad part to get to the happy part for me. But you should see it though, because it's very much an iconic Christmas movie. And even though he says it doesn't take place during Christmas, it very much is a Christmas movie though, because of the spirit and the lesson of it and all that. So
what I'd actually compare it to is like Lethal Weapon or Die Hard, where they may have not set out to make it a Christmas movie, but it ties into the theme so well, and with it being having the ending set on Christmas, it just, whether they intended it or not, it naturally became a Christmas classic.
Okay. So what are your next two?
Well, my next two is, anyone who knows me knows I'm going to say the Garfield Christmas special.
Oh, yes.
This one was like, for me and my brother, it was our Super Bowl every single year. This was the Christmas special that we get all excited to watch every single year because it was the 90s. Garfield could have taken over the entire country and we would have been like, we're cool with it. That's the power that cat had back in the day. But it's just such a heartwarming special, and it really does remind me a lot of my great-grandma with the grandma character. Just, she very much had a very similar personality to the grandma in that show. So it's like, even before she passed away, it was very much a nice little, I got called grandma reminder every single year, you know?
Oh, that is cool.
And then, go ahead.
I read the comic version of it like often, so even though I don't think I actually managed to see it, like the TV version until the YouTube days, like I was familiar with the story and I really liked it.
Well, you probably missed out on the only mainstream Christmas special that ends with yodeling. And then lastly, one I'm going to mention is Joy X Noel. It's I don't want to say it's technically produced in France, but they speak English for about 30% of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 30% in English, 30% in France, and 30% in German. So yes, there is some subtitles you need to read, kids, but this is a history lesson, so get ready. Back in World War I, there was this wasn't any formal thing planned, but back in World War I, it was trench warfare. Those of you who watched that Christopher Nolan film, not Christopher Nolan, who did that movie?
I don't know what that movie is, but I know you're talking about the Christmas truce, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Christmas truce. So anyways, you could literally hear the enemy 100 yards away from you back in certain spots in World War One. Well, one time, some English and French troops heard some German troops starting to sing Silent Night over in their barracks, and slowly, this happened without any planning or anything, both sides started waving white flags and made a truce. Okay, we will not fight each other on Christmas. And it's just this incredible story based on true events about the human spirit and how, though governments may want to kill each other, in the end, we're all just humans and we're wanting to live together. And it's this incredible story. I don't want to give away what happens if you're not familiar with history, but it's highly recommended by me.
I didn't know they made a movie surrounding it. That sounds cool.
Yep, Joyeux Noël, which is French for Merry Christmas, so look it up.
Well, in terms of like, I wasn't going to consider this a special, but one I just wanted to like throw in there because it's more just a regular episode of this series. Like, in terms of anime, Detective Conan or Case Closed, as they had to change the title in the U.S. Like, there was an early episode set on Christmas with a murderer at a karaoke bar, and it's actually one of the saddest ones in the series. I'd really recommend checking it out.
Okay, that was Detective Conan, you said?
Yeah.
All right, I'll definitely add it to my watch list.
You ever see any of that series, or?
I've seen bits and pieces of it here and
It's
there.
like my favorite anime and manga. Like I'm still collecting because they stopped officially dubbing the anime, but they're still printing the manga in English. I buy it every like week it comes out, every 4 months or 3 months.
And then let's see, just real briefly before we wrap things up, because I honestly didn't want to say any Muppet things because I thought Dave would have a bunch as well, so I was purposely not picking them, but the Muppet Family Christmas special, where they have the Fraggles, the Muppet Babies, and Sesame Street all in one, That's got to have a special place in my heart.
And man, until that project they did just earlier this year, that was like the last new thing to feature Fraggles for decades.
Yeah, for sure. And being the Fraggles, they of course have a catchy song.
And like Fraggle Rock's own Christmas special, even though it wasn't obviously a Christmas one for them, but
Life Day.
Oh no.
No, I'm just saying what it was the equivalent of, where it's totally not Christmas, but we're calling it something else.
I just heard that. I was like, please no, please let's not talk about that.
Have you guys seen
well, you hear how they made for
special?
Disney Plus like a Lego Star Wars holiday special.
Have you guys seen that at all? I'm curious how it is.
It's very tongue in cheek, like it's about like Rey traveling back in time and seeing like scenes from all the past movies.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
What? Sounds wild.
Look, we invented time travel so that we can figure out how to do the sequel trilogy over again and not have it in so clunky.
Aw, I liked it.
I liked the last one, but you gotta admit, they were kind of clunky all put together.
Though for this Lego one, they did actually get Rose's actress to come back and voice her.
Oh, good. That poor woman.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we got a few other things coming out here soon that you'll keep an eye on and see fairly shortly. But
next week we'll talk about the movie that for some reason McDonald's thinks is a Christmas movie.
Well played, well played. Well, folks, thank you for joining us on the podcast tonight. And we'll see you all next time. Keep an eye out for other special contents coming real soon. As always, want to thank my co-hosts, Dave and Lynette.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no problem.
And a merry bah humbug to you two. Night, everyone.